Is your... It is now. It's recording?
In a world where losing in your fantasy football league isn't an option, we present to you Triple Coverage Podcast. Hey everyone, it's the fantasy offseason, but it's not our offseason. Here at Triple Coverage Podcast, we're taking this time to get you info on rookies coming out for the 2018 season. We'll break down individual players that you need to know for this upcoming draft. So sit back, crack a cold one, and enjoy.
Okay.
This is the rookie spotlight.
Shut it off in between.
Standing 5'11", 212 lbs, running back out of Georgia, Sony Michel.
All right, Travis.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. It's Rookie Profile Day. We're doing some spotlights on some rookies coming out on the NFL Draft for the 2018 season. Today we're going to hit a running back, Sony Michel, like you heard in the intro. He's out of Georgia, 5'11", 215, 22 years old. Does anybody have anything they want to say?
No. Yes.
What do you like about Sony Michel, or dislike?
I like that he was a senior. He stayed all 4 years coming out, so he's already got the experience of a couple of big games and a couple of big bowl games. Obviously, Georgia just played Alabama for the national championship, and he did very well in that game. And I think he kind of showed that he can be more than what he was kind of brought into Georgia to be. He can do more than just catch. He can actually run the ball very well. His receiving stats, though, I was a little concerned that they decreased every single year. I saw that his sophomore year he had 26 catches. His junior year he had 22 catches, and it just kept kind of going down. He did catch a lot of balls, though, in the national championship game, so it kind of gave me the idea that he still can catch, and he's going to be a catching back, but that he can also play in first and second down. He's not like a tiny running back that can't kind of smash mouth the ball.
Which is surprising because they kind of brought him in to be the receiving guy because they didn't use Nick Chubb a lot in the receiving game. So I think that he will actually excel in that in the NFL. He's a nice change of pace back, but I think he can also take on first and second down when he has to. So I'm intrigued. I think that he was a guy that not a lot of people were talking about until the college football playoffs started, and after they saw those two games when they saw them play against Oklahoma and then when they saw them play against Alabama. He just boosted his draft stock like crazy. So I think if he ends up in a good spot and a good position, I think he's going to be a very viable asset.
He was actually a 5-star recruit coming out of high school going into college, and I also read that he was the 3rd-ranked best running back of that class, 13th best overall player in the class. Other running backs you might have heard of that were in the same draft class. Leonard Fournette, heard of him?
Well, draft class?
Yeah, like coming from high school into college,
okay.
So that class. Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, Elijah Hood, Samaje Perine, all in the same high school class coming up to college, and he was the 3rd-ranked guy of all of those. So I kind of like his talent coming out, and he proved it during his college year. The one biggest concern that I do have is his injury history. I don't know if you guys saw any kind of his injury doings. As I saw the first one, I'm like, okay, he had a pretty major injury. And then I kind of started to delve a little bit more into it and realized that he was injured a lot. to expand on that.
Did it list all of his injuries? You have
ready? I do, of course I do, Scoop, because I always do the hard times here. Okay, I always do the studying and the prepping. Freshman year, high school, torn ACL, not good. Second injury was in 2014. He had a left shoulder contusion. Did come back after he missed a couple of games. The third injury he had was an ankle in 2014. He only missed a game and a half. He did come back. It was just an ankle sprain. Like I said, he bounced back pretty quickly. In 2015, broke his left arm in an ATV accident. Had nothing to do with football related, but I'm starting to see a trend here that he's brittle boned, possibly. So, ATV accident, breaks his damn arm. His 5th injury, and if I want to keep going, I'll keep going. His 5th injury, a left knee injury in the 2017 season. He came out of the SEC championship game, didn't return. So, again, not major injuries. The torn ACL for sure, the broken left arm for sure. The broken left arm wasn't a football-related injury, but that's 5 injuries that I came across from 2013 to 2017. That to me is an average of 1 injury per year. You know what I like, what I don't like about guys, Travis, that get injured. I don't like them.
I feel like
I don't want anything to do with them.
I feel like you're trying to bash his stock down a little
I'm
bit.
trying to get the hype train to
back.
kind of relax a little bit on this kid because everyone's so high on him that it is a can't miss type of guy, and I'm just not sure about
the
that.
hype train has gotten out of hand with this guy. I think we all kind of agreed that once we watched that Alabama game, we're like, there goes all of his
Value.
Yes, all of his value's gone because now you're going to have a top 7 pick to get this guy in a rookie draft. He's probably going to go as high as 5 in some spots, and I don't know if he's good enough to be the number 5.
Can we both agree in this room though that Nick Chubb was the number 1 guy for Georgia this last year? Like,
Right.
Okay, so you would think that his stats would reflect on that, but as I started looking into their stats again, I came across something that was a little alarming to me that I didn't realize that Sony Michel had produced this much. He had 1/3 less of the carries than Nick Chubb. Okay, he had 156 attempts. Nick Chubb had 223 attempts. But overall, he finished with only 118 yards less than Nick Chubb. So he had another, 70 carries almost. He had 70 less carries than the starting running back, Nick Chubb, and only had 118 yards fewer than him for the entire season. So to me, that shows a lot that when this guy got the ball, he was able to produce very well. He had 156 attempts, like I said, 1,227 yards. He averaged 8 yards a carry and 16 touchdowns. So again, like the kid, when he's on the field, is great. If it's going to be an injury type of thing, though, where he's going to be injury prone, it's kind of scary to me.
I think it's more of a different style though than Chubb. Like he's a big play threat. Sony Michel
sure.
is a big play threat. So he's the guy that's gonna break the 1 tackle and take it 75 yards to the house. We saw that in the game. We saw that in the.
But he can also run between
Oklahoma.
He can also run between the tackles. He's not a small guy that's only going to be there for third downs.
He can, but Chubb was used as more of a first and second down back. Even though I think both guys could handle a decent load once they get to the NFL. I think they both could be like a first, second, third down back.
Yeah, if we're talking loads, then yeah, I like Nick Chubb for sure can handle bigger loads. But as far as just running back wise, that's what we're talking. I like both their talents. I mean, the one I kept watching film on him, or highlight tapes as you would say, and I noticed that a lot of his big runs that were over 10 yards, almost every one of them came on a draw play. Like that was like I saying, I must have saw 25 different plays where every one that was over 10 yards, and I started thinking, okay, that was a draw play, and I'd say again, okay, draw play, and I'm like, okay, did he ever just get a handoff and run between the tackles and just shove it down the throat? And it was very rare to find those plays. A lot of them were passing downs that they would drop back like he's going to pass, and then Fromm would hand the ball off, and he would rip off a 20-yard gain, 15-yard gain, 60-something yard gain, and it was all like disguised plays. So I don't know if you knock him down for that, because like you said, like he can run between the tackles is all the reports that we've seen, but every time he did run between the tackles, it was on a fake draw play that the defense thought he was passing, and they ended up running the ball.
Yeah, I don't put too much into that. I think what I'm looking for when I look at the prospect is, does his game translate? When he did get into college, was he able to kind of put on the weight from a high school kid to growing into a man? And he did. He was slimmer when he came in. He put on some weight.
Mm-hmm.
You can't knock him for the way he was used. And you're going to Georgia, which is a running back factory, and you're competing for touches. So, and you have Nick Chubb there. So, I mean, that's the role that he's going to fit into. He's not going to take over Nick Chubb's kind of role because he's the even bigger kind of pounded in kind of guy. So I think as long as you can see that a guy can catch, it almost doesn't matter to me how many catches he kind of ends up with at the end of the season, as long as you know he can catch. Because if he's just not used that way, he's not used that way. But the fact that an NFL team could use him that way means more to me. Like if he shows he's capable, then that's fine with me. I don't care if he gets 10, 15, 5. As long as he looks like a very capable guy that's a natural receiver, I'm good with that.
And we've talked about this. It just sometimes it's a system. Sometimes maybe they don't throw to the running back that much out of the backfield. So to me it all just depends on the system in college and will it translate to the NFL. I think for Sony Michel it will translate to the NFL. He is good on pass protection, which is a huge plus in my opinion because that's going to get him just on the field more.
I did read that as well. But
see, I read kind of a little different, actually. I read that a little bit different.
I read that they actually preferred Sony Michel out there on third downs than they did Nick Chubb because he was not necessarily he was great at it, but just better than Nick Chubb was at the pass block.
I mean, I'm not too concerned because how often do you really see, like, if that's the kind of guy that he's, I guess, the example from this year would be like Alvin Kamara. How often
That's
was
weird
Alvin
that you wrote
Kamara,
that name down because I wrote the same name down.
how often was he really asked to pass protect? You know
Right.
what I
Oh,
mean?
for sure.
I mean,
He's going to be
that's-
coming out and.
so I'm not too worried about it. As long as he's a willing kind of guy,
Mhm.
that's fine with me.
Yeah, I actually wrote down the same name as you did, or you just said there, the Alvin Kamara type. Little concerning thing again as well. Because of the shoulder injury, he had, like I said, the left shoulder contusion before. He also had a shoulder, I think there was some, fractured shoulder blade as well, which I didn't mention before. Sorry, I missed that one. But he had a fractured shoulder blade as well. The reason why I think he keeps getting these shoulder injuries is because he has been known to lower his shoulder and do the hitting rather than get hit. To me, you can do that in high school, maybe even in college. When you get to the NFL and you're going against linebackers that are 250, 255, and you're trying to lower your shoulder and kind of run into them, and you're trying to give the contact, when you're only 216 pounds, you're going to get trucked hard. One of these times, you're going to realize, holy shit, I can't go and just destroy everybody like I was doing in high school and college. But his knack is that if I'm going to get hit, I want to make sure that guy feels pain too. So instead of him running out of bounds or kind of going down at first contact,
He's seeking the contact.
He's seeking it out. So he sees a safety that's on alone on an island, and instead of trying to juke move and trying to get around him or trying to kind of protect himself, he's trying to run through that guy, which could be great, and it could be fun to watch if you're a fan. But if you're a fantasy owner or if you're a dynasty owner of this guy, and he comes out right away, tries to lower his shoulder, and just gets absolutely pelted by an Eric Berry or a linebacker that's at the top of his game, like a Luke Kuechly, he's not going to want to do that anymore, and he could possibly get hurt from it. So that's the one negative I have is that he is a straight line runner that would rather inflict pain than dance around the defender. To me, it could be great for the first year or two. Once you start getting to 25, 26 years old, it's gonna affect your running. I guarantee.
It's going to catch up to him eventually. So he's going to have to change that aspect of the game, though. He's going to have to change that.
Are you concerned with that with Alvin Kamara? Because they're like the same body,
Mm-hmm.
the weight,
Mhm.
same height.
Mhm.
Does Kamara have an
Yep.
injury history, though? Like, I know he
Like,
had...
did Michelle look very injured this year to you?
No, not at all.
This year, but for history over time.
I'm just saying.
Because I think
they
that-
play football, boys.
I think that's going to affect
If
his...
he get banged up,
It's going to affect his draft stock, I bet.
If
Well,
you get
where do you think he's going to go?
there's banged up, and then there's
Second or third round?
From what I've seen, between the third and
I say
don't
third.
think he'll go as far as fifth. But
third.
Between he's definitely not going first or second, most likely. Unless
Yeah, I'd say third round. And then you're talking NFL draft.
Yeah.
Third round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to affect his draft stock. That's what I'm saying.
I think that there's, yes, it's football. Yes, it's aggressive. Yes, people are going to get hurt and people are going to get hit. Like, that's the name of the game, clearly. But if you're the back like a Marshawn Lynch type that's going to try to go out there and inflict pain on the defense, I think that it ups your injury, potential to get injured, because you're now looking for it. Instead of, like, getting hit and then kind of going down, or maybe finding the sideline, or, like, instead of lowering your shoulder, there's a way that you can protect the ball and protect yourself when you take a hit, and that's the longevity of your career we're talking here. And if you think you're going to come in the NFL and run over these guys, you got another thing coming. And especially Alvin Kamara, same thing. Like you said, his size is the same as Alvin Kamara, and I haven't seen yet Alvin Kamara run over a linebacker.
I haven't seen
Have you?
Michelle run that way. Like, the way we're talking about it, I don't remember seeing him run that way this year when I watched him.
Yeah.
And when he did get hurt, like, he came into college a lot smaller. He put on weight in college, so he's not the same kid that he was when he probably got banged up with some of those injuries as well.
Same size as Nick Chubb.
Yeah, he's only a few pounds less than Nick Chubb, but you
Like,
feel
what,
like
4?
Nick Chubb is like a shorter, stockier guy.
Scroll up to Nick Chubb.
But really, he's
Sonny Michel's 215. What's
Mhm.
Chubb? 220.
220. Chubb's a little bit shorter, but
Yeah, shorter. Okay, that inch shorter and those extra pounds, that makes a difference in your BMI. I think that it's more than we think it is.
What's the BMI? Hit him with it.
I'd have to look, but you can tell he's a shorter guy and he weighs more, so the BMI is going to be much more with Chubb. So
No,
if
I'm
you're
saying, what is the BMI? Explain it.
body mass index.
Correct. I was wondering if you knew what that was.
you just ran
Well, you
around
threw
letters.
out a BMI like you is like IBM. Like, it could be anything. That's a computer. I'm just saying, explain it to our fans out there that may be watching that has no idea what a BMI is. Now they're trying to Google it.
Well, then good. Do your research.
That's it.
We support that.
Anything else that you guys want to add on Sony Michel? Do you have any negatives that you see that we didn't touch on, or any a positive that maybe you see? that maybe no one knows about.
I think he's going to be not that no one knows about, but I think he's going to be a very big positive in PPR leagues. He's going to go in the first round of your rookie drafts, and he's probably going to go, like we said before, somewhere up in the, I would say in the 5 to 7 range, when more than likely he maybe should be going lower than that. I think maybe back in first round, but his value is at an all-time high, and we'll see what the combine brings because I just hope that his value doesn't get out of control.
I mean,
well, if it does, then you pass on him, let somebody else take him.
yeah, I mean,
That's true.
I could see him going as. I mean, he's a guy that's probably going to outperform his NFL draft stock. I could see him outperforming where he really gets drafted in the NFL, and a guy that you normally see go in that range, you might not be so excited about, but he's a guy that, you know, if he goes deeper or slides in the draft and goes to a good spot, like, I can see him going in your rookie draft, you know, obviously not ahead of Geis or Barkley or any of those guys, but
So
as
Chubb-
early as 4 or 5,
if
it wouldn't
Chubb-
shock me.
Chubb and Sony Michel are on the clock and they're available. Chubb should go ahead of Sony Michel. Can we all agree on that?
I think after that point, it does come down to where they went.
What team
What
they
kind of
land with?
competition
Right,
they
yeah.
have for
That's
touches
true.
and that kind of stuff.
So they're a lot
or the
closer.
number one guy.
They're a lot closer than they should be. At the beginning of this season, for the college season, it was Nick Chubb, Nick Chubb, Nick Chubb. Now it's we've seen the entire season of them playing together, and I think it's like gone definitely, you know, closer to
Yeah.
even.
Especially
And
with
you're
the
right.
basket
It depends on where they go.
Michelle probably would have been a starter on a lot of other different college teams. Like good
I think
college
he was a
teams.
starter. It was a 1A, 1B type. I'm sorry, 1A, 1B type of thing. It wasn't like a.
But they
this
always
is Nick
used Chubb
Chubb's-
as a starter. Like Chubb was always like he was named the starter. Chubb had the better
It's his
pedigree
name.
coming in.
Plus, he has a town named after his last name, Chubbtown.
Chubtown.
Chubb.
Chub City?
Chubb City.
Chubopolis?
That should be his nickname. Is Chubb City.
Chubb City, Georgia. USA. Anything else you guys want to add to this guy?
No?
No.
No, I'm good.
Good luck, Sony Michel. I'm cheering for you to keep the hype train low because I want you, but
Yeah,
I'm not willing to pay that much.
I don't want to overpay either.
All right, well, we agree on that. Let's crack it. All right.